Our homes are the largest investment most of us will ever make. They should provide us with sanctuary and a sense of belonging.
We're in a fantastic area, surrounded by people that we love.
It's safe for the cats. I love the outlook on the front.
But as lives evolve and families grow, what we need from our bricks and mortar can change dramatically.
Our home has to be an office as opposed to just being a home.
So we're looking back. Look at this! It's stunning.
At some of our inspiring builds and fascinating house hunts.
Oh, I could just imagine myself being here.
And the lovely families that undertook them.
In the name of resolving that famous dilemma.
Are you going to love it?
Or list it.
This time, we're looking at simple switches and snug, smaller spaces.
This wall would go whee,
Creating more room without extending.
People say I'm always knocking down walls, but I'm just as keen to put up walls.
We've got one property with a number of redundant rooms, resulting in an interesting lifestyle choice.
Can you eat in bed?
Not in bed, on the bed.
And another home where the lady of the house has been banished upstairs.
That's not a fair distribution in my book.
But did we manage to split up these properties without splitting up our couples?
I want to go.
All will be revealed.
Whoa, it is a mega transformation.
You are regularly helping people with opening up space,
Yeah.
aren't you? But actually, as the years go past, you've done less of it.
I think I've done less of it because people have done more of it.
Well, they've already done it.
They've already done it. People sometimes go a little far and they create spaces where there's no private corners.
Yes.
And I think that's really shown in the pandemic because people have been working from home, homeschooling, all of that, and there haven't been enough individual spaces.
We have had our homes to work so much harder for
Yes.
us. And it's a school and it's a gym and it's an office and it's a home and it's a cinema and it's everything.
Yes.
People have realised that a degree of separation is actually really useful.
Yes. Also, what people realise is that small spaces can be very useful.
Yeah.
And it's that logic which I was determined to put into practice back in 2015, when Phil and I were called to Weybridge to meet Barbara and Stephen. After 20 years in their Riverside Cottage, this retired lawyer and husband, who was a teacher and schools inspector, have found themselves completely at loggerheads over where to spend the next 20.
The problem we have here is that he won't leave this house, and for the last 3 years he hasn't agreed to any house improvements, and I am despairing.
Trouble is, Stephen's not a big fan of change.
I don't think that's quite true. We have had changes here, and I bought a new rubbish bin for the kitchen, and that's been very good, and it all fits in very nicely.
And when Mr. Beaumont's not embarking on daring makeovers, he's filling up their home with what he calls his treasures.
We had to move here because Stephen needs more space than the average human being. He came with 13 bicycles. Can you imagine that at the start of a marriage?
But since retiring, this feisty couple have argued more, because while they both need their own space, Stephen's taken over most of the ground floor, leaving Barbara with only an upstairs box room.
I've squashed in all my files, my favourite books, and my drum kit. That's not a fair distribution in my book.
Well, I think it's time we step in to sort this out.
Please clang with decorum.
Right.
Probably should have got used to it, shouldn't I?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Come on in. We would love to come on in.
Victorian houses weren't built for 21st century life, and sure enough, go straight through the door and you're in Stephen's Snug. Though carry on, and there's also 2 reception rooms and a sunroom, dated but with loads of potential.
So, nuts and bolts. Who wants to stay? Who wants to go?
I want to go.
Okay.
I won't move. It would take hell, high water, plague of frogs.
You're quite comfortable.
Very comfortable here, like it very much.
Part of the job is a little mediation. Stephen manages to use 3 different dens, and when you compare that to the room I've got...
the fight back has got to start.
Yes. I was too slow in, marking my territory.
Possession is 9/10 of the law. You're the solicitor, you know this.
You're right.
I think that every house can be solved.
I don't
Phil.
disagree, but I can see at your stage of life, a change, something new, would be so invigorating.
Be careful,
Yes.
they'll have you in sheltered accommodation before you know what's happened to you.
Be good.
While the division of territories is a big issue in this house, to really make Barbara love it again, both the layout and the decor needs major surgery.
I think that Barbara wants to feel proud of her house, but the space isn't being utilised right.
Naturally, I'll have Barbara beaming with pride in no time. But the real trick here will be modernising without losing the character quirks that Stephen loves.
It's a very odd-shaped house, isn't it? It must have been added to several times.
Yeah, several times. But it's really nice, Phil. I mean, look at that view of the river.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to beat, absolutely.
But I also need to completely rework the layout, starting with Stephen's snug.
This should go back to being a hall.
And as for the living room...
There should be much more of a possibility of closing this off.
It's a very big room that they're not using at all.
I know, it's mad.
No wonder Barbara's a desperate woman.
Blimey.
Her and her drum kit have been consigned to a cupboard.
Has he really got nothing better to do?
I'm just practising, celebrating your arrival. A little bit of a fanfare. You like that, don't you?
You're pathetic.
What did you find?
I found a man taking up a totally inordinate amount of space. No surprises there.
But I intend to address this imbalance with my more than generous £80,000 Love It budget.
What I have here are some suggestions.
Right.
And I don't want to do anything that would make you feel uncomfortable. Don't gasp with horror.
My aim is to give Barbara a home she can be really proud of. So I'm modernising the entire house and giving her a fairer share of the space. That means turning Stephen's snug back into an entrance hall and having the stairs open into this area. Meanwhile, the massive living room will be divided in 2 so that Barbara can keep her upstairs study and have a drumming room as well. The kitchen is also on the move, giving the Beaumonts an additional reception area and, even better, a dining room with river views. But wait, I'm also dragging their unloved conservatory into the 21st century as well.
What we've tried to do is turn everything so we benefit from the river.
Well, it's stunning. It's beyond anything we've thought of. Completely.
The master or mistress stroke is really putting the dining room and the kitchen really in reverse. Clever. I've got nothing to object to there. Why didn't you think of this, love? It's good.
I'm aware that we're talking about quite a lot of money here, but if you do decide to go for it, I genuinely believe it will add to the value of this house regardless of whether you go or you stay. And I can say that hand on heart.
We will digest it. Some bits we might regurgitate, but we will digest it. But overall, I think you should get a gold star.
Thank you, that's very kind. I think that a house needs to provide space for every family member.
Putting up a stud wall is really cheap and easy.
Yeah.
But there are other things to think about. You've got to light the room, you've got to heat the room, you've got to have a door, you've got to have architrave and skirting. So there are
other things,
other elements, but on the face of it, it's quite straightforward.
Yeah, and one of the things you have to be really careful about is, will the room get too hot?
if you put up a wall, how is air going to travel through the property?
Yeah.
I think increasingly as we have better double glazing and better insulation, we also have to think, how is this house going to function in the summer? Another of my trickiest layout challenges was back in 2019. Phil and I were called to the historic town of East Grinstead
to meet PA and trainee dog groomer Lucy and avid golfer Linton, who works in the aeronautical manufacturing industry, to see if we can help settle their debate on whether to stay or move.
I'm ready to move from this house because I prefer to have an ensuite and we don't have that. Lucy would like a bath. We don't have that. Kitchen's too small, the dining area's too small, little bedroom's too small.
I love this house because it's really solidly built, it's safe for the cats. I love the outlook on the front. I think it's a perfect house.
Sounds like Lucy's mind is made up.
That may be, but it's not just the small rooms that have Linton itching to leave. The awkward layout is also on his list of dislikes.
I think from the kitchen to the dining area is a bit disconnected, so you're almost shouting through the house to have a conversation.
And despite being the biggest room in the house, the living room has limited wall space, meaning their only sofa faces away from the TV.
It's not a comfortable room to sit in, hence we tend to do everything in the bedroom. Sit together, watch movies, sleep.
They even eat dinner up there. But despite the obvious flaws, Lucy can see past them all, as the house holds many treasured memories of her late mum.
She came and spent Christmases with us here. She came and spent long weekends with us here.
So I don't want to move because I feel that I'll lose those memories, and my mum's in these walls and and she was my best friend.
So, totally understandable that Lucy is struggling with the idea of leaving this house behind.
Yeah, I think Phil seriously met his match with me because I'm not moving.
Well, whatever happens, Kirstie and I are here to help you make a decision that leaves you both in a happy and peaceful place.
Hello, good morning. What's this all about, then?
It's about moving, Phil.
Well, I'm delighted I came, then.
So am I.
Well, I think we should just start with the traditional question, shouldn't we? Who wants to love, who wants to list?
I want to love.
OK.
And I want to list.
Tell us why.
It's not big enough for us anymore, but you've also got a very poor layout, so there's not enough room, literally, to swing a cat.
What's the objection to moving?
Well, I've got so many mum memories here because she'd come down and we'd spend weekends and Christmases. So these are my last memories of my mum.
So you feel that the house works fine now, or you feel you don't want to move and you want to change things?
I want a bath. I'm absolutely adamant about having a bath. We don't really sit in our lounge at all, and in fact I think the last time we sat around this table was with my mum.
But it's the kind of principal room, isn't it? It's the key.
It is the
biggest
principal room.
It is.
It is, and that's the frustration.
Because there's nowhere to sit in the kitchen.
No.
Not at all.
So where do you sit?
Generally we tend to hop
Move
upstairs and eat upstairs on our bed.
You eat in bed?
Not in
On the
bed,
bed.
on the bed.
Yep.
Even though you've got this great room?
Yeah.
Wow, OK.
I want to have a look around.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tough one for both of us. With Lucy's emotional attachment and memories of her mum here, I can't see her moving from the first house she's ever owned. And with such an awkward layout, I don't think there'll ever be enough space for Linton.
No one ever said it would be easy, Phil. The house already has an open-plan lounge and dining room, which Lucy and Linton never use. And I can see why it's not working for them. That is not a suitable sofa.
Everything's too big and in the wrong place. It's all badly arranged.
Do you know what, Phil? If this was some kind of whizzy bit of graphic, at this stage, this wall would go wee, because that's essentially what's happening.
How does that go? Can you do it again? I got it. Now I understand.
My pleasure. Lucy isn't alone. What many of us value most about our homes are the memories we've made in them. Luckily, my idea should completely change the way Lucy and Linton live, whilst retaining those all-important memories. And I've got £35,000 to do it.
But will it give Linton any extra space?
They don't need extra space, Phil. They just need to use what they have more wisely.
This is a bigger room, which is Lucy's daughter's room, who
Yes. Who isn't
doesn't
here that
spend
often.
very much time here.
And that is clearly her hamster. Hammy, hamster.
Do you talk hamster?
Yeah, no, fluent hamster. Yeah.
I have many talents, Mr. Spencer. But I'm keen to know what Lucy thinks the solution to this layout is.
Tell me what's going to impress you.
Kitchen and sort of lounge, sort of all-in-one, open plan, light and airy, which Kirstie's going to help me with, or hopefully, or something along those lines.
Well, not quite. With this amount of furniture, losing more walls is not the solution. I've got better ideas of how to maximise the space they've already got with their £35,000 budget.
So, we are sitting back at this table in this space which isn't working for you two. It's a room with an identity crisis. It doesn't know whether it's the library or the dining room or the kitchen diner.
Yeah.
It hasn't got a purpose.
To solve this, my plan means removing the kitchen wall and creating a generous kitchen diner. Then adding another wall to give them a cosy sitting room at the front where everyone can see the TV. Upstairs, a new bathroom suite and a rejig will allow space for Lucy's all-important bath. And finally, by converting the unused box room into a dressing room, Lucy and Linton can remove the wardrobes from their room, leaving them with a calmer space for sleeping.
Seeing these plans and envisaging a snug, cosy lounge makes sense to me. I think you've sort of hit a lot of nails on the head.
Fantastic.
Thanks very much.
Not at all.
Thank you.
They said to you that they wanted one big open plan space.
Mm-hmm.
You advised them against that. Why was that?
Because different members of the family do different things in different spaces.
I wonder if it was because that's what they lacked. Because if you have more walls, you've got more places to put furniture, and
Yes.
it enables you to
Yeah.
use the space in a different way.
100%, yeah. I mean, that is a big thing when people knock down walls, and then it's suddenly like, where do we put the furniture?
Yeah.
Back in Weybridge, and after 9 weeks of negotiations between Barbara and Stephen, some of my plans were being put into action.
I'm just so delighted. I've been waiting for it and wanting it for so long, and now I'm almost on a high because it's happening.
With the new partition wall going up in the living room, Barbara will soon have her own dedicated music room. Though Stephen's attempt to win Barbara over has meant the odd sacrifice.
It's dusty and it's cold, but it's going to be worth it because Barbara will realise that this is the place we're going to stay in.
While the Beaumonts have embraced most of my suggestions, Stephen's decided he can't live without his snug. So there goes my entrance hall. But the new kitchen and bathrooms are all systems go. And dividing the massive living room in two has proved an absolute triumph.
Wow. You know, people say I'm always knocking down walls, but I'm just as keen to put up walls.
It has also made the living room, which was barely ever used, much cosier and more inviting.
How much more pleased with myself can I get?
Mind you, the devil is in the detail, and that's an area Barbara and Stephen are really struggling with.
I would have more pan drawers. Because they are so useful.
Yes.
So the thing about a pan drawer is if you open this cupboard, then you have to bend down.
Yes, that's what we're trying to avoid.
I'm 44 and I don't like bending down. And so, yes, don't tell anyone that.
No.
But with the pan drawer, you just open it and it's all there.
Kirstie, quite frankly, the demand for decisions in the past couple of weeks has been furious, fast and furious and frightening. So we didn't have the answers. So this meeting today is really essential.
It is endless.
The team and I have been trying to help Barbara with these decisions, from paint colours to kitchen design. But there's one thing I still need to convince 50% of this pair on, and that's flooring.
I know that the builders have been really considerate and they feel that they can preserve the carpet.
Yep.
My feeling is that some new carpet might be a good idea. Ooh. Oh, look, I got that.
You're welcome to your feelings, Kirstie.
I can see that this renovation is going to be an ongoing battle. And Stephen is supposed to be on my side. And back at Lucy and Linton's. 6 weeks after I suggested the plans, work is well and truly underway. One wall is down and another wall is up.
There is no shelter from the work that they're doing. Each day we come home and something different has happened.
And we get into bed with rubble and dust.
But despite the mess, things are moving forward.
The new spaces that we are creating, I think, look amazing.
Are you going to stay?
No. I think it will make it much more sellable.
And whilst a new Snug was exactly what Lucy and Linton needed, it seems they were ahead of the curve. With many of us spending more time at home recently, the need for some private space has inspired almost 2/3 of homeowners to invest in renovations, with separate Snugs being one of the most popular additions. 1/5 of us have reconfigured open plan layouts to accommodate home offices or gyms, and although there might not be such a drastic need to do everything at home anymore, I think this new flexible approach to modular living is here to stay. We're taking a look back at couples who needed help to make their house more homely.
It's a very odd-shaped house, isn't it?
With builds focused on reworking what they already had.
If this was some kind of whizzy graphic, this wall would go wee.
In East Grinstead, Lucy and Linton's house has been torn apart. I'm back to offer some help with the next steps.
So here's the thing. Lucy and Linton have been going hell for leather on this project. And while speed is often a good thing, if you make too many decisions too quickly, you can make expensive mistakes. Kitchen. I mean, amazing. This is completely different. I can hardly get my head around it.
With the partition wall now installed, I want to see how the new sitting room is looking.
Ooh, look. Oh, I'm pleased with that. Not only have they been watching telly in the bedroom, they've been eating in the bedroom, and this has got to have that cosy feel to entice them downstairs. My thought is that a sofa which had not a sort of massive corner sofa, but one which had one of those sort of slightly sort of half chaise here, I think can take up the whole of that space.
Yeah.
With a position in mind, check what the sofa may end up blocking. Plug sockets, radiators, doors. Then, once you're happy with that, time to measure up.
How far to there?
150.
That's 100, so that's 250.
250.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's your max on your sofa.
The layout and design of a room is so important. Not just aesthetically, it can help your mood and mental health if you get it right. And these two are well on their way to doing just that.
And back in Weybridge, I was feeling very confident I'd found Barbara the community, separate living space and finish she'd been dreaming of.
Well, here is the first house.
Look at this.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, goodness me.
There's 3 reception rooms, that's 1 each and 1 to share.
Look at
Look
that.
at this.
A state-of-the-art kitchen diner,
Wow. It's fantastic.
4 double bedrooms and plenty of space for Stephen's treasures. Even better, it's also £50,000 under budget.
Good grief, look
Oh,
at
my
this.
goodness.
Now, here's a nice area.
Wow.
But despite a good first impression, Barbara and Stephen weren't 100% sold on property number 1. So our Phil really upped his game for his next offering in the seaside town of Selsey, just over 20 minutes from Chichester.
This Edwardian property is bursting with character, but the layout and the decor are bang up to date, giving my house hunters 2 generous reception areas, 4 double bedrooms spread over 2 floors, as well as a separate study.
Oh, look here. Look here.
Oh, wow.
God,
Oh,
dear.
my goodness, perfect.
This house has great flexibility because you could have your drum kit in here and then have this room as your office.
I think I'll take it now. I will. I love it.
At £650,000, it's also 50 grand under budget.
The only thing I've got against it are these handles. They should be white. Otherwise, perfect.
Determined to find something that Stephen couldn't fault, Phil pulled out all the stops for his grand finale.
After finding these two a little quirkiness by the sea, on this outing, I'm going for total wow factor. Not to mention more space, more character, and we're back close to Chichester.
Come on in.
Oh.
This is going to be interesting.
Wow. Oh, my goodness, yeah.
What was a former blacksmith's has now been completely refurbished to the highest specification,
Isn't it beautiful?
offering Barbara and Stephen 4 double bedrooms upstairs and 3 glorious reception rooms downstairs.
My goodness me.
Oh, that's nice.
Look at this, how elegant.
I'm speechless.
That's very unlike you.
No.
But while the front of this house offers Georgian architecture at its best, round the back there's all the trappings of modern living.
This is superb. Designed by somebody who clearly knew what they were doing.
Making its £799,000 price tag easy to appreciate. And while that stretches the budget, there is room for negotiation.
Now, up here we've got 4 bedrooms.
4.
And a couple of bathrooms.
Ah.
So one of the bedrooms could be drumming room, but I wanted to show you the bedroom first.
Oh, my goodness me.
It's exceptional.
And with so much on offer,
Yes, look at this.
Oh, lovely.
perhaps it's time for Stephen and Kirstie to finally admit defeat.
Not so fast, Phil. Just wait until you see what we've done with their house. While I'm not one to count my chickens, I am happy to say it's decision day, when Barbara and Stephen must finally answer that all-important question.
Hello. Welcome to you both. Come in.
We have much to show you.
I know. So I've spent the last 11 weeks completely modernising their house and, more importantly, giving Barbara her fair share of space.
It was totally unfair, the division of the space in the house before. And now I've got room. Instead of sitting on top of my drums and my desk, I can actually move from one to the other.
Before my intervention, the biggest problem in this house was its higgledy-piggledy layout. Remember the slightly dysfunctional kitchen that was in 2 parts? Not anymore, and now it has every mod con imaginable. But even better, its new location means Barbara and Stephen can finally have a dining room that makes the most of those river views.
But hang on, this was the kitchen along there.
True. Now, this, I think, is the best bit of the house now. Not only because you have food here, but actually, if you just sit down here...
It's this, yeah.
And look,
It's very calming, isn't it?
This is what we said, wasn't it? That you would sit here and you'd have your cup of coffee and you'd be at one with the river.
and I've got to say, of all the things you've said, and you said a lot of things, and some of them are sensible, this was the sensible thing. You've reorientated the house, moved it so that it looked at the garden, not looked at itself,
Yes.
and that's good.
It's all outward looking now, so that's lovely.
Well, I did make the odd compromise. Case in point, Stephen's Snug, which was making a very bad first impression. Now the 20 years of clutter has gone. As has the dark woodwork. In their place, a light-filled room, which is the very definition of charming.
Originally, when I first came, I wanted this room to be more of a hall. And then Stephen said, I am not moving the telly. That is staying in here. So what we've achieved is actually the perfect compromise, because with the sofa positioned in that way, this is a good passageway, free flow. You've got access to this door, which is new. You've got a lot of light from there. So effectively, this is like a new window in this room.
the living room was once dated, confused, and very much unused. Now, despite losing a few square feet, the space is much more inviting. Meanwhile, what was a dark and dated dining area has become a dedicated space for Barbara and her bridge club.
I must say, I'm enjoying your lifestyle, watching cricket, playing drums, drinking sherry and gambling. There's a lot to be said for being retired, isn't there? I can't wait.
Well, that was one of the issues, that you were so recently retired that actually you hadn't been focusing on the house until now. And now, all of a sudden, the house... I mean, you're never going to go out anymore. I mean, it's...
We're now focused on the needs as a retired couple. That's what's different. And this whole exercise has done that for us, really.
Music to my ears, Barbara. Though as well as transforming all of the ground floor, I've also tackled 2 of the upstairs bathrooms as well, and still come in under budget.
There we are, Phil.
Oh, damn! Damn you! It's great.
Oh yes, we've only spent around 60,000 of the 80k Barbara and Stephen put aside. And, drumroll please, the changes have added £95,000 to the property's value.
Well then, all the more reason to list. After all, I have found 2 houses that Barbara and Stephen absolutely love.
We did have quite an exceptional search, I felt.
I did find it quite exciting, I must admit.
Well, that last Georgian house.
Yes.
Wisteria growing up the front, glass atrium.
Yeah, that atrium was fantastic.
Yeah.
We loved it. There was no 2 ways about it. It was a very elegant house with a touch, well, obviously it's history. Beautiful setting.
Well, you'd said, Stephen, I'm seriously considering moving.
That's right. And I wasn't at one time, but having seen that house particularly, my mind has become retuned.
Which brings us
to the question.
Decision time.
It is decision time. Are you going to love it?
or list it?
We've not taken this lightly. We've had conferences, family conferences, and after much consideration and looking at everything you've done for us, we are of one mind and we've decided we are going to live here for a bit longer.
Let's just go over that sentence, shall we?
No, Phil, give it up.
Am I giving it up?
Give it up. It's
You
a
said
love
live
it.
here for a bit longer.
No, it's a love it.
Well, thank you both for taking us on a roller coaster, I would say.
It is a roller coaster.
Yes.
It really
Both
is.
enjoyed it.
I certainly am so impressed with the result. I think it's a really good development of the house, and I think it will work for us.
I need something a bit stronger than a cup of tea.
5 years on, and Barbara is still happily living in their Riverside home. Very sadly, Stephen is no longer with us.
Unfortunately, his health has gone downhill and he passed away September last year. So I've now had to learn to live with the house from my point of view on my own. I'm gradually going through the house to just make it work for me on my own, and I'm beginning to enjoy that. To start with, I did feel that I was rubbing out bits of Stephen, but now I feel I can find a compromise between his stamp on the place and what I would like it to be now.
Starting with the conservatory, the old carpet will finally be replaced. And in the spirit of making better use of large open spaces, Barbara plans to split the room in two.
It will become a utility area at the back end where it's dark, and then the front area will have seating overlooking the garden.
And despite originally being on Team List It, Barbara is loving the new layout of the house. Privacy for her drumming practice, but lots of space to host her bridge club.
Ace, I know what's coming out.
She's enjoying herself with
When we weren't allowed to meet in each other's houses, one or two of us acquired outdoor heaters, and we would gather on our patios in the freezing cold, wrapped up, and treat ourselves to smoked salmon sandwiches. And I know we had champagne once, all just to raise spirits.
I'm sorry to hear about Stephen's passing. That was sad news. He really kept you on your toes.
I loved Stephen. He made me laugh. He was very, very funny, but he did stick to what he wanted. He was no pushover in terms of what he wanted from the house.
Great to know that Barbara is still loving the house.
There's a lot of talk about people downsizing and moving at a certain stage in life. And I think that is very important, and a lot of people leave it too late. If you get it right at the right time, which they did just around the time that Barbara came up to retirement, and it's great, and it'll take Barbara right through.
We're looking back at builds focused on creating separate spaces. In East Grinstead, despite having a 3-bed open-plan home, Lucy and Linton felt they had run out of space.
But while the builders were putting Kirstie's plan into action, I was determined to show Lucy that a new house would be the solution. And in the picturesque village of West Hoathly, I found a gem.
I like the space. I like the drive.
I'm more concerned about the house.
But wait until you see inside, with a stylish and cosy living room, and then an incredible kitchen diner.
Wow. You're gobsmacked, aren't you?
Upstairs has everything they need. 3 bedrooms with a family bathroom, again with a bath.
Yeah, I like this. See, this has changed things.
I thought it might do.
Plus a 240 square metre garden that the cats and dogs will adore, all coming in around $375,000.
Did it deliver?
Well,
Yeah, it definitely delivered.
Good.
yes, it's got a nice feel. It feels solid. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It feels really good.
There's nothing in it that I turn around and go, don't really like that, doesn't work. Everything does work.
My job is done.
But just as Phil started to think he had this one in the bag, the wish list changed dramatically. Due to the pandemic, Linton's been made redundant. But there's a silver lining.
It's opened up an opportunity for us that we may not have had before or taken before.
We're looking to set up a dog grooming business.
Yes.
With their new venture in mind, a garage and parking are now priorities. Seeing as they already have both of these at home, I better make sure my final throw of the dice does too. We're heading 16 miles south of their current home to Uckfield.
This is it. Welcome to your new home.
On the market for £375,000. This place has everything that Lucy and Linton have asked for, and it's over 10% bigger than their current home. It has 3 bedrooms, including this spacious main one with ensuite, and there's a bathroom with that all-important bath for Lucy. Downstairs, there's a generous lounge and kitchen diner, which opens onto the well-kept garden. And of course, the garage would make a great base for their new dog grooming venture. And I've got something else which should spark their interest.
Looking back at the house, those solar panels.
Oh, I like that.
We like this.
Those solar panels generate electricity for the house, as well as enough income to pay for all the gas. So actually, living in the house is effectively free.
Free living. You can't ask for more.
Aren't you forgetting the monthly mortgage payment, Mr. Spencer?
Well, it's not quite free living as such, but it is a considerable saving.
Well, despite Phil's clever idea for Lucy and Linton's fledgling business and some other perks.
Oh, this is vast.
In the end, the house didn't wow. Top marks to Pip for being ahead of the curve, though.
Now, with many more people working from home, and like Lucy and Linton setting up businesses from home, suddenly they have to take into account the cost of the heating and electric being used during the day.
Which now is more the case than ever because of the rise in energy costs.
Yeah.
My house pays for itself because we have a ground source heat pump and we have solar panels and it's extremely well insulated.
I think we can all ensure our houses are environmentally friendly by using less energy, turning the thermostat down.
More insulation,
proper curtains.
Yeah.
All of these things make a difference.
And speaking of differences, now that the changes to Lucy and Linton's home are finished, we're back to see what they decided.
Hi.
Hello, you two.
Hey, how
Good
are
to
you?
see you.
We're
Come on
good,
in.
we're good.
Come in.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Where we were once met with a dark, dated hallway, now we're welcomed with a modern, bright entrance, with new flooring and a super fresh paint job. Meanwhile, the tired, cramped kitchen, which used to be disconnected from the dining area in the living room, has been totally transformed. By relocating a wall and installing a stunning contemporary kitchen, Lucy and Linton have a swanky, generous space to cook and eat together, costing around £16,500.
Is it the same house? Have you moved? You've moved. You've listed it more somewhere else. How is it to live in?
Absolutely, totally different. We used to live upstairs. We now live downstairs. So we sleep upstairs. That's it. We always eat at the table.
And you never used that bit of the living room, did you?
No, but most
Never.
importantly, that table now sings.
Did you have that table before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting because it's actually in exactly the same spot.
It actually is.
Novel way of repurposing a room, Kirstles. Don't move the table, just move the wall.
You know me, Phil, always thinking outside the box. Before, their bathroom didn't even live up to its name. But with the addition of a bath and a sleek finish, it's now a calming space for Lucy to relax and enjoy a soak. And next door, the bedroom, once dominated by unwieldy wardrobes, is now a tranquil retreat, light, clutter-free and spacious, thanks to relocating their clothes to the brand new dressing area in the third bedroom.
So you weren't able to get an ensuite out of this place, understandably, but you've done the bathroom. Are you happy with that?
I'm delighted with it. Lucy's got her bath and I have my shower, so I think both of us are happy.
Hope you're not too happy, Linton.
More space would always be nice.
And that will only be possible with a listed Linton.
Give it a rest, Phil, and I'm not done yet. Lucy and Linton's barely used sitting area, previously dressed with unsuitable furniture, has become a cosy, calming space thanks to some stylish sofas at the cost of £2,000, new flooring, a fresh lick of paint and family photos displayed proudly on the new dividing wall.
Whoa. It is a mega transformation. Lovely cushions. Did you have those from before?
My lovely mummy made them.
That's a talent, Lucy. I'm so glad you got those. And such a lot of them.
Lucy's mum's cushions are a triumph, and very much to my taste. While it won't have been easy to part with so many of her late mum's possessions, the space they've created here allows the ones they've kept to really shine, and these cushions are a prime example.
Well done, Lucy. I'm really pleased. I want to know what you're going to decide. Let's go and find that Phil.
Lucy and Linton have undertaken a sizable project here, as well as moving the downstairs wall and installing a new kitchen and bathroom. They've practically redecorated the whole house. All in all, they've spent around £6,000 more on their build than their original £35,000 Love-It budget.
It's a remarkable transformation, Kirstie. So the time has come to nip down the local and hear their decision.
So I showed you 3 houses. All of them were significantly bigger than your now lovely house.
Well, you've shown us what can be out there, and you've transformed our house into a house that's now a house that we can live in rather than endure.
I think the time has come. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Lucy, Linton, are you going to love it?
Or listed.
do you want to say?
We're going to
Love it.
love it.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Linton, it's always better just to give in.
Oh, dear.
I have to say I'm so proud walking into the house now. Those clean lines have given us the sort of headspace to be able to just sit down and watch television, to be able to go and relax and have a bath, to, you know, just that absolute chill out space.
It's so important. Well, I'm not sure you should do this with coffees, but
cheers.
Cheers.
Well done, both of you.
Thank you for your help.
That was a tricky one because Lucy had so much emotion wrapped up in that house.
Yes.
But they really weren't using it in the right way
not
at all.
No.
You achieved a lot, a huge amount, but it wasn't complex.
It was two things, actually. It required the acceptance that they were using the house in the wrong way and it really wasn't working.
Yeah. What they've ended up with is a much calmer... I mean, they talked about being calm and tranquil and everything had its ways.
Yeah.
Storage space, it was a great result.
Yeah, it really worked much better for them.